This
All
conference
right.
will now be recorded.
Okay. So, as I was saying, I request all of you kindly to have a track of running notes so that there are some terminologies that you might have to hear it for the first time, and you don't want to um, confuse yourself on that. So, firstly, I reiterate myself. DevOps is not a software. It's not a technology. It's neither a framework. Then what exactly is DevOps? So let's keep this suspense rolling. Before that, let's understand few of the basics within IT world. So as you know that if there is any project running in IT, there are different teams managing an application. Let's say there is an application, and for example, you can take an Amazon application. Okay, whatever you see on your phone, it's a mobile application. Okay, we understand that there is a team that was behind developing that application. Yes, there was a team behind testing that application whether it's working fine in all the environments or not. Yes, there is also a team that keeps on checking whether the application is healthy or not. Yes, and there is also a team that is managing the data entirely in that application. So overall, there are 4 to 5 teams running after each application, in particular across all the projects. Okay, so let's start with why. What is the the significance of each team? So the team that has been developing all that code is nothing but the development team, right? And the team that has been testing the application is the testing team, and the team which keeps on monitoring whether the application is healthy or not, and if the users are experiencing any issues or not, is a support team or a production team. And if the team that is dealing with the accountability of the data, the images, etc., basically all the data, which is nothing but database team. So there is a development team, there is a testing team, there is an ops team, there is a database team. Okay, so combiningly they make all the project team. Okay, so where DevOps comes and sits. See, over the years of all these experiences, I have come across and understood that DevOps is a team that binds all these existing teams. What do I mean by that? So there is a dev team testing, there is a database team, there is an ops team. So there is a belt that connects all these teams, and that belt is called as DevOps. So then what I heard about DevOps, people have been saying there is a CI thing, there is a CD thing, there is a agile methodology, blah, blah, blah. Now you are bringing a new definition altogether, and you are just saying in lame words that it's a belt that binds. Yes, I repeat myself, DevOps is a belt that connects all the existing teams. The question is how? Let's imagine now. So right now I'm not showing you deliberately any slide because I want you to imagine, I want you to write down notes so that when you come across seeing those images, you'll easily understand. Okay, I hope you guys are with me in this imaginary world. So you have imagined a dev team, you have imagined a QA team, you have imagined an ops team, you have imagined a database team as well, right? So now let's imagine from the infrastructure point. Okay, now let's talk about a development team. The dev team will be working in the dev environment. So what do I mean by a dev environment? A dev environment is nothing but a server which is dedicated for the dev team only. Okay. So what do I mean by that server? Server is nothing but an infrastructure, a box like a laptop. Okay, that there they have the very big, big capacity of a machine, virtual machine that is dedicated for the dev team. Okay, so now when the developers are writing their code, they build the code. Now there is a new terminology that I'm bringing. They build the code. Here I want to stop and give you a definition of what is build. So the basic definition of building the code is converting the raw code into an executable format is called as build. Okay, I am a Java developer. Let's say I'll write a class file, and I'll write all those inheritance and polymorphism, all those things into my program, and that's a raw code. I cannot do anything with that code, right? Unless I build that code. If I'm a Python developer, I'll just end up writing py.py files. Okay, I cannot do anything with that unless I build that code. So what do we mean by the building is converting the raw code, meaning .java, .py files and .c# files to an executable format. So now let's come back to our example. So dev team is working on dev server. So there is a dev team that is perpetually writing the raw code. They build it and they deploy into dev environment. So what do you mean by deploy, sir? They are just keeping the executable format into the dev environment, dev server, right? Now the question is, who does that? Who does that? The DevOps team does that. Okay. The responsibility of the DevOps team is to pick the code from the repository, build it, and deploy it onto dev environment. It is not confined to dev environment. Let's go ahead. Pick the code from a repository, build it, deploy into dev, deploy into QA, deploy into production environment. Okay, so why do we deploy into each environment? So that if we deploy into dev environment, the developers can test their application into a actual VMware, the VM environment, right? If we deploy into to QA environment, the QA people can go ahead and test that application in their environments. If we deploy into production servers, the production team, the actual end users can go ahead and test it. So this justifies my definition that DevOps is a team that binds all those existing applications teams. Okay. Now let's get back to our next cycle. The first diagram which you see on the screen, it's actually a never ending loop. It starts with build phase. Okay. Now it starts with coding actually, if you see. So what we said, after coding we build. Okay, we build and we test that application, we test and we deploy. Okay, sorry, I missed one thing. Before coding we plan. There are business analysts, there are scrum managers, there are project managers. They plan what exactly the need of the requirement is. After planning, they give it to the dev environment. Hey, this is the requirement. Okay, and they start coding. After coding, you build that application, right? You build that application and you do testing. This is unit testing, this is a sample testing. After the testing, you deploy it onto your production environment, production server. Production, whenever I'm saying production, it is exposed to end user. So whatever you are seeing on the internet is called as production. Okay, so you test and there is a rocket icon here which is nothing but release. So this release is something that is a feature of DevOps. Okay, DevOps people release the code. Release where? Into the deployment servers. May it be a dev environment, QA environment, staging environment, training environment, or production environment. See, these all environment depends on project to project basis. After deployment, you operate that, you monitor that application, you operate basically whether the sanity checks are working fine, whether the regression testings are working fine, and then basically you monitor the health of the application, right? So this never ending loop is summarized to as a DevOps. You see, the dev team comes and sits here, the test QA team comes and sits here, and the operation teams comes and sits here. So in this loop, this belt is something developed by DevOps and it's binding the existing applications, application teams. Make sense? Now, coming to this bar
Yes.
diagram. So there are three teams and the whole and sole single point of contact with the three teams is DevOps, as we rightly discussed. Now let's quickly go ahead and understand the traditional development life cycle. Now I have given you the definition of DevOps, I have given you the scenario of existing project life cycle, I mean project scenario of developing an application, but just understand why DevOps came into the market, what was there before, and why is people are so crazy about going gaga about this technology. This is a big question. So before that, let's quickly understand. I'll not go much deeper into the classical way of developing a software, but then it is very prudent for us to understand why this came into the market, meaning the DevOps is ruling the market. Now Previously, the developers and IT operations team were separately accessing their duties, meaning the developers were developing the software and IT people were testing, managing how the software works. Okay, and developer were collaborating with other teams, and meanwhile the IT operations team were managing the infrastructure and checking if the applications are testing fine in that infrastructure or not. The developers were maintaining the source repository and dealing with the versions, and simultaneously the IT ops team were just deploying the application and the database. So basically, they were just duly working on their duties respectively. But and also one more thing I forgot to discuss about this. So there is a waterfall model. We know that if we are coming from the BTech background, this is something that we have never missed it. Okay, waterfall model. What is waterfall model? We know that every phase of developing a software comes step after this step. Okay, first the requirement gatherings and design, development, testing, maintenance, all this. The biggest drawback everyone knows with the waterfall model is you cannot go parallelly with each task. The biggest drawback. So let's say I have gathered the analysis, I have designed the software, I have developed the software, and during the course of testing, I figured out that this is not working. Then the drawback of waterfall model is I'll have to again step up to the requirement gather analysis. So all these weeks have been wasted for test designing and development. So this is the biggest drawback. You cannot just go significantly dealing with all these steps in parallel. So this was the classical approach of developing a software. Now agile came in. Now when I'm talking about agile, you people might have got some interest, because agile is something that people also are looking forward to in the current market. So no matter which project you're working in, 90% of the project today are working with agile methodology. Okay, what is agile? And basically, is it a technology, is it a framework? No, it's actually a structure, or it's actually a methodology that proposes some steps to be followed, some procedures to be followed. Okay, so it's a process basically wherein you can develop each life cycle of a software in parallel. Okay, I don't want to go much deeper into this. Obviously, this deck and all will be shared with you. You can go technically, but just for now, understand that agile is just a process which proposes you to follow some procedures. What are those some procedures, sir? Those some procedures are nothing but, if you have a design analysis, if you have a development, and if you have a testing requirement, things can go parallelly. That is the main highlight of this process. Now, this is something called Scrum process also. You might have heard about this Scrum, Scrum call, Scrum Master. So what is this actually? Scrum call is nothing but a daily update of all the teams. Scrum Master is the one who actually picks out the gathering required, uh, uh, you know, the requirements, gathers all the requirements, and hands it over to the development team for working. So one more thing I missed it, one important terminology. If you are making running notes, you may want to note it down in the side of agile methodology. That when I say that you can work parallelly in the agile methodology, you divide each requirement in a window. Let's say I want to build UI. So I'll say I can do it in 10 to 12 days. And I want to develop some new data. I can do that in 10 to 12 days. So as a Scrum Master, I'll go ahead to the development team and say, hey, these 12 days are assigned to you for developing the UI, and I'll go back to the database team and say, hey, these 12 days are assigned for you to develop the database. So these 12 days which I'm giving, those are called as sprints. Sprints are nothing but the time windows. Okay, this is something that you may want to note it down. Now this part was the classical approach and the traditional approach of uh, developing the life cycle. Now we are into actual core of our session, which is nothing but what is DevOps. But before we do that, I want to show you a video. Okay, let me stop sharing. um, I want to show you a video that speaks more than what I can say. Just give me one moment. Please confirm if you are able to see my screen. Guys, if you're able to see my screen.
Yes, yes,
Yep.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So let's wait and see this video. Okay. This basically defines the pit stop, meaning you might have all seen the Formula One racing, right? The video which you are seeing on the screen is actually the way it used to be done in 1950s. Okay. Whenever the car needs some maintenance, there was a team that used to come and repair the car. If you see the time that has been um recorded since the time since the moment the car stopped, since the moment people are repairing the tires, since the moment the car is being refueled, you see how much time it's taking. So this was something uh, done back in 1950s. Okay, so slowly one after the other he changed the right tire. Now he's changing the left tire front. Okay, almost set to go. Done. Any idea how much time it would have taken? Oh, you guys are saying it. So closely 1 minute 17 seconds. Okay, now let us see uh, how it is being done in today's world. And not today's world, I can say this is something in back in 2013. We have passed 7 years more. So now let's wait for the moment the car arrives and see how much time would it take for everyone to repair that car or to re-standardize that car into its perfect shape. Let's wait for the car to come. It has come. Done. Isn't it so fast? Any thoughts? Yes, no, maybe.
Maybe they were
Yes,
already aware. Uh, they were already aware about the problem, so they were ready with the equipment.
exactly.
Yes, yes.
So previously, people were not understanding the problem of the ETA, the estimated time. They are not understanding the problem of a teamwork. So right now, if you notice in the current scenario, the car hardly took 4 seconds to get it repaired from the by the entire team. So what do we understand by that? That is the best example of working in agile process, agile methodology. And each team is a dev team or a QA team, which are all these teams are working in parallel to develop that project. Okay, so if the developers have worked on completing one feature, that one feature can parallelly go on and can be tested in the QA environment, right? So let's say we have an Amazon application, as we were rightly taking the same in the initial stage of our session. So we have an Amazon application, and so some feature of it is developed. So why do we wait for the entire product to be developed? We can handle that one feature to the QA team. So meanwhile, DevOps come into the picture, pop, and the DevOps says, hey, one feature is done, right? I can build that one feature and I can deploy it to QA environment. So meanwhile, the developers are working on the second feature. The first feature is already tested by QA and it is ready to be deployed. You understood my point? So this is how DevOps is helping the flow of the application quickly into the production environment. Now I'll give you a best example of it. Now that we are taking the example of DevOps only, let's Amazon only. Let's continue with that. If you see, um, someday, okay,
Yes.
now let's easily take an example of Google. Each day Google changes its logo, meaning today, if there is a death anniversary of the father of the nation, they will just try to portray it some way like that. The logo changes in such a way. If there's a teacher day in India, they try to portray the significance of teachers in their logo, in the home page basically. If you notice, each time they are trying to change the behavior of their application, the website, but there is no downtime. They are not saying, hey, we'll not be available for next 30 minutes because we are changing our logo. They don't say that, right? If you come back to the Amazon application, new items keep on adding, but is there a downtime? No, they will never say, hey, you just bought an item. We are about to change some mathematics in our product. So you just bought a mobile phone, right? We had 10 of the stock. We are just trying to make it 9. Please hold on for a second. No, they don't do that, meaning there is no downtime. So now let me say the biggest significance of DevOps team is that they ensure there is no downtime in the application. How do they ensure? They ensure by telling that as soon as you build the application, I'll I'll make it ready in the internet. As soon as there is anything happening in the internet, I'll make sure that the new version is up to date, deployed. You need not wait for it to build, get deployed, and then be tested. I'll ensure that everything is following smoothly in its pace. Make sense? So Microsoft basically says DevOps is the union of people, process, and products to enable continuous delivery. This is something that we have been discussing, right? Continuous delivery. There is no downtime. They are continuously delivering whatever the new enhancements are, the new features are. Now let's get more deeper into uh, the DevOps thing. Now, I bring to you a very, very, very important point in DevOps, which is CI and CD. If you talk about any person who is working on DevOps, he will say CI and CD. He'll talk in that language. And if you talk about a project which has newly adopted DevOps, they will talk about CI, CD, CI, CD. Everywhere people are talking about CI and CD. What is CI and CD, sir? CI starts for continuous integration, and CD stands for continuous delivery or continuous deployment. Okay. Now, what if I tell you that you have already learned CI? You'll be wondered, hey, you did not talk about CI anytime till now, and you are saying that you have taught us CI. Yes, you have learned CI. You know how? CI is a process of continuous integration in a way that as soon as the developers are checking their code into a repository, so there is a repository which has all the raw code. Okay. As soon as the developers are finished of writing the code into the repository, you ensure that the code is quickly built and deployed to dev environment. So meaning as soon as the latest changes are there in repository, they are there in the dev environment. How? Because you are picking it, building it, and deploying it. So as soon as the new, I repeat, as soon as the new changes are there in the repository, you are ensuring they are there in the development environment. So this process is called continuous integration. CI, continuous integration, I repeat one more time, is a process as soon as the developers have checked in their code into the repository, you ensure that the latest changes are built and deployed to respective environments. Okay, so let's look at like this. So this is a code. So this code repository can be hosted in multiple tools. So the widely one is the Git. There are so many. There are CVS. Classical one was CVS. People are now using SVN. Now people are majorly using Git. People also use GitHub. People also use Bitbucket. There are so many repositories. These are called version controlling system. As I said, I'm not going much technical into it, but I'm trying my best to help you understand how DevOps work and how in the real time project scenario where DevOps sit. So okay, so now there is a code repository. They commit the code, meaning they have checked in the latest changes. After checking in the latest changes, you ensure that you have a CI pipeline. Now what is a pipeline? New terminology. Pipeline is nothing but a job, a configuration setup. Okay, pipeline is nothing but not a plumber pipeline stuff like that. Okay, this every time it kind of confuses people, pipeline. But pipeline is nothing but a route or a job basically. In other words, you can just say a job. Okay, CI pipeline meaning continuous integration job. What this job does, sir, it basically picks the code, changes, builds it, tests it. Now you're telling me, hey, why do we test it before deploying? These are the unit test cases. Okay, tests it and checks the quality of the code and checks the security of the code, whether there are any vulnerabilities or not. So everything you see, it's happening automatically. There is no dedicated team working behind checking the security scans, checking the code qualities. No, everything is set up in the pipeline. It's going one after the other in a flow. Who does that? DevOps team does that. You need to have a knowledge of how to build the application. I'll come to that. What needs to be consumed in order to become a DevOps engineer? We'll come to that. So as soon as the code is fetched, meaning as soon as the latest code is pulled, you build that. You ensure the security and all is good. You build it, and the end product of that build, the executable format of that build, is ready to be deployed in a CD pipeline. Okay, in a CD pipeline. Now, this CD pipeline is another job. This job now connects with all your servers, meaning all the environments, the dev environment, QA environment, stage environment, production environment. So, a single job connects with all the environments. So, what is the purpose of this job? So, whatever you build from this, you just deploy it onto each environment one after the other as per need. Okay, now this is something carried out by CD pipeline. Easy, right? This is how the flow is. You have the code, pull it, build the code, deploy it. Now, next and very important question. Sir, I want to become a DevOps engineer. What do I do? I know the process, functional and stuff, but is it okay for me? Before I answer that, let me answer you one thing, that you need not be anyway technically sound to become a DevOps engineer. At the end of the day, what matters is how you understand the flow, how you functionally grasp the DevOps process. I repeat that it doesn't really matter how technically sound you are, and that's true actually. So, okay, sir, I am not technically much sound, and I know DevOps, I can learn functional stuff and all. But on top of that, do I need anything else to become a DevOps engineer? Yes, there are some small prerequisites, such as you need to understand how do you build any technology. Let's say your project is a Java project and there is an entire Java developer team. So you need to know how to build a Java project. You need to know how to compile a Java program. So if your team is a Python development team, you need to know how to compile or build a Python language. Okay, then if you don't know, how can you troubleshoot? Perfect, you need to know how to do that first. Secondly, you need to secondly, if your project is working on a Linux environment or a Windows environment, you need to know little bit of that particular server administration. Okay, first thing is you need to understand how to build the language. Second thing is, how do you understand the server administration part? Meaning, let's say if I want to create a new folder in Linux, if I want to deploy a copy paste file remotely, you need to understand all these small things. I think CGC is also scheduling some sessions on Linux basics. I recommend you to go ahead and join that session, because in today's world, Linux is slowly growing and most of the projects are going over Linux because of its security and stuff. Okay, sir, I know how to build a project in any language. I know how to handle server administration part. Is there anything else? Yes, there are some tools in the market which are DevOps specific. If you can get little bit touch of each tool, then you are good to shine in the market. So what are those tools? Those tools are nothing but UI. Don't be confused or don't get scared of, okay, this is a big tool, can I learn it, can I pay for learning tools? I think most of you might have heard about Jenkins. This is something that has been ruling since so long. You know why? Because it's an open source. Nobody likes to pay, and it's serving the purpose so nicely, so that people, whenever talk about DevOps, they say, okay, do you know Jenkins? Now the next question, would you ask me that, can I pay this much to that institution in order to learn Jenkins? I will say it's pathetic to pay anybody to learn Jenkins, because it's so easy. If you know how to build an application locally, then what is the problem in building the application on a tool? You know how to build it, how to do it manually, then you should 200% know how to do that automatically, right? In a functional sense, in a logical sense. So there are some tools which will automatically get the knowledge of, if you know it to do locally. Hence, you try to learn building the project locally. You learn the commands to build. Okay, if I want to build a Java project, I just need to pass Java C space the Java file. Oh, if I want to use the build tool, let's say Maven or Gradle, how do I build the project? I just pass the goals, MVN, clean install package, or Gradle. I can pass the goals, and I can. So there are a bunch of build tools that you can learn the two goals of. So my point is, I reassure you, if you know how to do it manually, you will definitely know how to do it on a tool. Okay, please don't get scared. Okay, DevOps means there are so many tools in the market, I don't have
Now
any
being
knowledge
recorded.
of these tools. Okay, you just cannot go ahead and say, I am getting scared because there are so many tools in the market. No, tools are something that keeps on evolving in the market. Today is some tool, tomorrow there won't be any. If you know how to do your job, you can do it on any tool. That's what my point is. Now that brings me to the next and important slide, which is the tools required for. We have discussed that for coding. Okay, we have discussed for the coding, meaning how to store the code. There is a Git, and there is Jira provided by Confluence. And then how to build the code. As I just said, there are build tools. Nobody is using a traditional way to build. They are making use of a build tool. What is a build tool, sir? Again, build tool will do nothing but building the code, but it's in its own way, and helps you to do that job easily. So there is Maven, there's Gradle, there is Ant, there is SBT. Okay, and then testing, automated testing. Most of you guys are from QA, right? You need to understand, how do I automatically write some frameworks in Selenium, Protractor, or Tosca? Okay, all that thing, and that can be integrated in your pipeline. Meaning, let's say, I think I might have missed this important point. Let's say there are some automated test cases. As a DevOps engineer, I can pick those test cases and include in my pipeline, which means as soon as the code is being deployed, it will automatically get tested also. Oh, that means QA job is in danger, huh? Yes, automation world is slowly kicking off the slots of vacancies. So, which is why we have to go towards technologies which are automation friendly. So, DevOps is one such. Okay. So, testing, there are some Selenium, JUnit, and such tools. Release. This is where the important part is. Jenkins. There are so many tools. Okay, not just Jenkins. There is Bamboo provided by Confluence, Atlassian Bamboo, sorry, and Jenkins. There is Azure DevOps. See, I'm not touching anywhere to Azure in the today's session. The reason why is, I purposely want you guys to understand and strengthen your grounds on the DevOps field. Okay, maybe if things go fall rightly in our place, we can discuss strongly on each tool. Okay, I am happy to teach anything is there on the screen right now, whatever you see. Let's get more into the flow, and then comes the interesting part. So okay, release points to Jenkins and CodeShift. There's so many tools, as I said. Salt Stack is there, Team City is there. So many tools are there which helps you to build the code and deploy it. So for deployment, there are again Docker, there is AWS, there are so many things. Let's not confuse ourselves. Okay, there are some advanced tools, but the root remains the same what we discussed. And for operating, basically operating meaning operating the infrastructure, operating all the servers. Okay, and there is Chef, Ansible, Kubernetes, and for monitoring we have Nagios, Splunk, etc. Okay, these are all the tools available in the market. Somebody will come up and say, hey, this is my new tool working for your purpose. So if you know your grounds, meaning if you know how to achieve that functionally, it will never be a tough task for you to learn that new tool available in the market. Okay, slowly the technology is evolving. Every other month you see a new tool coming in the market. If not a new tool, the existing tools are releasing new features that we are obliged to learn those new features in that particular tool if we are using. Okay, so these are the not exactly all of these tools, but if you can at least learn 50% of these tools, then you are going to proudly say that, hey, I know DevOps, I can do whatever. Okay, if possible, what I can do is we can schedule some technical workshops in DevOps, so that each workshop we can learn each tool. Okay, in within a span of 7 to 8 days we can complete up, and we can proudly say, okay, hey, I know DevOps, and I can do any POC activity, and I can take up any assignment no matter what tool you are asking for. Okay, so as I said, this is what the things as part of uh, learning DevOps. Yes, DevOps is now slowly moving to cloud. Cloud is something that is uh, the future for DevOps, but it hasn't moved yet completely. Okay, and you need not worry or get scared of, okay, I don't know cloud, how can I grow in the market and stuff. Cloud is, I don't know why people get scared of cloud as well, but it's very easy, and it's very good to learn. We also have sessions on cloud, I guess, so we can take up that. So that brings me to end of my slide. So if you have any questions, I know I might have spoken a lot of things that bounced your heads because of new terminologies and terms, but I'll be happy to take any questions. Shoot.
What would be the duration of this course? Like if we wish to take this course, uh, what would be the duration?
So as I said, let's get back to the number of tools. As I said, there are so many tools that are growing in the market, right? So if we can plan for 40 minutes to 1 hour per day, we can complete it in 6 to 7 days. Because I have been taking workshops on DevOps, so it won't be very difficult for me to um take you to important points. So not more than 1 week.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions?
Um, I'm from infra background,
Okay.
and I have more than 15 years of experience, and it includes network security and cloud designing
Hmm.
and cloud infra design, data center designing, so all that.
Hmm.
So, is it benefit for me? Why? Because uh, in my current project, we are doing few automation things. So, in
Absolutely.
future, is it uh, is it benefit for me? Why? Because
Absolutely.
as I gone through all this session, I come to
Hmm.
know you have explained mostly on development and coding, all that stuff.
Hmm. Yeah.
So is it
Good one.
really?
Yeah, good one
But I'm
actually.
very much
Because
interested
yeah,
in
yeah.
automation.
I got your point. So good one. Actually, as I said in the beginning, I'm not because this is a very short span. I'm not able to touch. I'm not able to unturn all the stones of DevOps. So I have had to emphasize more on the development and QA part. But if you're talking about infrastructure, so give me 4 to 5 minutes to explain how it has a edge on the infrastructure thing. So right now we
Yeah.
have infrastructure on on-prem, right? We have hypervisors of VMware, which basically allows us to create VMs out on top of it. So right now, people are slowly moving to cloud, as I said, and in cloud, we don't expect the VMs to be there without using them. So that
Yeah.
means that if I have a VM, I'm paying for it. If nobody is using it, I don't want that VM to stay idle like that, right? So as a
Yeah.
DevOps engineer, my job is to decommission that particular VM if I'm not using it, and write some coding in such a way that if I want an environment, I can spin it up in no time. So let's talk about Azure now. In Azure, I have some development environment. I'm talking only from the infrastructure point. Okay, I have development
Yeah.
environment, I have QA environment, I have staging environment. Okay, now people are only testing on development. There is no QA happening. So why do I want QA? What I'll do is I'll decommission everything in QA. Okay, I'll decommission everything, and I will write all the ARM template, Azure Resource Manager templates. What these templates will have everything what you need as part of provisioning an infrastructure. Meaning, if it's an infrastructure as a service, I would write the template for provisioning a VM, provisioning a disk, provisioning network interface card, provisioning the storage accounts to store all the data, and etc. Everything will be there in the template on a single click inside the pipeline again. Okay, on a single click, entire infrastructure is ready for you to use. And if you're talking about PaaS service, platform as a service, you have app services. There is no infrastructure there, okay? But then in cloud, it is called as infrastructure, even though if it is not using servers and all. So you have app services, you have managed instances to store the database, etc. So there also you can write ARM templates. So the point which I'm trying to make here is DevOps allows you to provision infrastructure on a single go with the automation. So if you talk about AWS. So there you have something called cloud formation templates, CFTs. Okay, those cloud formation templates also serve the same purpose on a very high level. They allow you to provision entire infrastructure. So if you see previously, we had Chef and Ansible. They are only to a major extent helpful on the on-prem. Okay, now let's say this is on the cloud part. Okay, let me say one more point which is very interesting that might help you actually. So you have a VM created for an environment or for a project. Let's say you have bunch of VMs, like 10 VMs you created for a project team, and they are requesting you to uh, deploy or install Tomcat 7 and Java 7 on that. So you cannot just go log in into each server and then deploy Tomcat 7 and Java 7 on that. You make use of some configuration management tool which are DevOps friendly, DevOps specific. So DevOps provides some configuration management tool. What are these configuration management tools, sir? Chef is one, Puppet is one, Ansible is one. So what these tools do? These tools help you to maintain or install any software across large number of servers on a single click. You need not go and log in into each infrastructure box and install that particular software. You need not go into each server and see which version of it is there. You just have to write one script. In Chef, it is called as a recipe. In Puppet, is called as a I think configure manifest. Okay, it's a different terminology again, but the purpose remains the same. You'll have to write a file. That file will go and check across all the mapped servers. If there are 100 servers, it doesn't really matter. Without logging, with a single dashboard, with a single click, you can maintain all the configurations. So this is after you have servers. And the first example which I gave you is when you don't have servers, when you don't want servers, you can just decommission them and provision them on the go. So in this way, DevOps is actually very helpful in the infrastructure side as well. I hope I did answer your question.
Yes. Yes, Matt.
Yep.
Sir,
Thank you
I
so
have a
much.
question.
Yeah, please.
Sir, in DevOps have a two parts, a development and other an operation team.
Hmm,
So I want to, so there are two parts, development also others and operation team allow others.
hmm.
So so which I want to only administration task.
Hmm.
So what I want to interested in administration, not a development. So what I do?
Okay. No, if you do development, you are a developer. Why do you call yourself as a DevOps? If you do ops, you are an production support guy. You're not a DevOps engineer. So as I said, right, you are not developing anything. You are not solving any tickets. You are the team that is
Mm,
binding those two existing teams. And yes, you will need to have server administrator knowledge, because
mm,
because you will deploy those applications,
We
developed
are not developing
built application.
anything, but the market nowadays they are asking the templates also, not cloud formation like that.
Hmm. Yeah, it's actually, you know what, cloud formation template or ARM template, they're nothing but JSON files. You know the JSON,
And the
you know
mostly they
XML
have
format, right?
so many calls. They told me that Python in scripting language you have must and should they are asking.
I tell you one thing. I tell you one thing. That's a very good question. I was just thinking if I missed that or not. That is a very good question. So just now I said, hey, I don't need to learn any language, and now slowly Mudassir is saying that you need to have some scripting language. I'll tell you one thing. See, if you are working on Linux or if you're working on
mm,
Windows, if I ask you to automate one thing, so let's say you are working on Windows, okay? I'll tell you, hey, there are two drives, C drive and E drive. I want to go into E drive and see the size of each folder. And if the size is beyond 1 GB, just report me an alert. This is the requirement. There are two drives, C drive and E drive. I have to go into E drive and see the size of the folders. And if there any folder is exceeding the size of 1 GB, I have to report. So can you go ahead and do it manually? Absolutely, why not? But what if I tell you there are 100 servers? Can you do manually? No. So my point
No.
is, in order to automate anything, you need to have some scripting language. Now, what is a scripting language and what is programming language? Sir, programming language is way beyond our imaginary assumptions. Scripting language is very, 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 very easy. It's nothing but what you do locally in your Windows. You're just converting into some scripts. Script is again one command. Okay. So those commands are purposely trying to help us achieve our task. Let's say, as per the requirement in my script, what I'll do, I'll go to CD space E drive. I'm into E drive now. I'll list out all the size of the folders, get item, get children item. In PowerShell, I'm talking because this is Windows Server. If it is in Linux, I'll talk about Bash scripting. Why people are talking about Python is because it is cross platform. It will help you to achieve the same in Windows, and it will help you achieve in Linux as well. So the purpose why people are asking about scripting languages, how do you do the automation then? Without scripting language, it is very, very tough to achieve automation. And scripting language is very, I say three times, okay, very, very, very easy. Don't get scared. Okay, in programming language I had to write so many class files, functions, methods, etc. No sir, scripting language is very easy. In one day you'll learn scripting language, you know. If it's a Linux, you have to learn bash scripting. If it's Windows, you have to learn Windows PowerShell scripting. Okay, so which is why people are asking for scripting language as a requirement. Don't worry, we can have those workshops to learn the bash scripting or Windows PowerShell scripting. Any other questions for me?
Mr. Mudassir, there are a couple of questions in the chat windows also. People have
Okay,
put.
let me
Also, what
check.
are
Mudassir
the
Karim here.
Yes,
opportunities?
please, sir.
What are the job opportunities are there for freshers? How can they develop their career? If you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
share.
Before that, there was someone, Kareem. Can you please go ahead and ask me?
Yeah, Mudassir, thanks. I'm basically in working as a DBA. So if I'm looking to jump into this DevOps, so what should be the ideal? Ideally, I should be working on to move to the DevOps,
Okay.
or how can I find the job opportunities in this DevOps? If I move, whether I can easily find out, or how will be the approach?
Okay. Yes. So for now, if you are willing to migrate to DevOps, so there are some prerequisites
It's the
we
same
rightly
related question. I
discussed.
have the same thing. The last my
Yeah.
background is non-IT background. Now I'm on to moving from IT background. DevOps. Is there any possible things for fresher?
Yep. Okay. So I'll tell you one thing. For DevOps, you just need to understand few tools and few process-related techniques. Okay, if you are from database grounds, so just imagine that how can you automate execution of the SQL scripts. There are some tools available in the market like Flyway is there, Liquibase is there, that allows you to execute your SQL scripts in an automated fashion. Similarly, DevOps is a team that does not specifically manage a single part of the application. Like it does not specifically manage database only, so it manages everything. It manages the code. DevOps also manages servers. DevOps also manages monitorings. So that brings me to answer your question. Like if you are from the database background, you also need to understand how the code is being stored in the repository now, and which tools are used for storing the code in repository, and how do I fetch that code and build it, and how do I deploy it. So this is the main core of DevOps. If you learn how to store the code, I mean, how to pull the code from any repository, and if you learn how to build at least 2 3 technologies, and if you learn how to deploy it into any server, that brings up to your first step of DevOps. So, if you want to migrate it to DevOps, then there are some prerequisites, such as you can go ahead and learn some tools such as Jenkins, such as Bamboo. Bamboo is a paid tool, don't go after it. If you learn Jenkins, that's more than enough. And there is Azure DevOps. I haven't spoken anything about Azure DevOps. Is Azure DevOps is one umbrella for everything. Okay, Microsoft every time it releases something dhamaka in the market, right? So this time the blast was like it has everything. You need not have separate tool for deployment. You need not have separate tool for building. Everything is under the same. So if you learn Azure DevOps, that's actually very useful. And if you learn Jenkins, if you learn any other tools, so right now what I can say for the functional side is, as a database guy, that's okay, you understand your task, but also it is prudent for you to know that, okay, this is how a life cycle of an application is carried out from one environment to the other. And you, because you are the DevOps guy responsible for carrying out the application, you should understand, okay, this is how uh, a code is built, this is how a package is stored, this is how I deploy the application, and if there is any issue in the deployment, how do I fix that. If you only learn these 2 3 things, you are good to go with the DevOps. That's all I can say. And to the second question, as a fresher, sir, I would ask you to practice some assignments. If you are a fresher, then only learning basic tools will not suffice. There are so many advanced tools in the market. If you might have heard about it, there is a Docker, there is Kubernetes. But before that, it's very necessary for you to uh, understand classical concepts or DevOps. I know I might be sounding some confusing points. I know, because I am speaking sometime about Docker and Kubernetes and sometimes about classical DevOps. I don't want you guys to get jumbled in the today's world, because every other month we are getting new tool in the market. Again, I emphasize on the point. If you are functionally sound, it doesn't really matter what tool comes in. So that is the reason I am not. I'm trying my best not to spell out any tool's name. I'm only emphasizing on the process. So let's focus on the process. If you know the process well, then you can practice any tool, and going to be, inshallah, very easy for you to understand that particular tool. Any other questions for me?
So this is Kiran Prakash. I do have experience on IT service management for about 13 years. I just want to get into DevOps. Could you please
Okay.
provide more insights on how do I get onto that? I mean,
Okay.
just how
So
to get started.
yeah, can you please help me understand what is the role in service management?
It's kind of technical lead where I manage change management team.
Okay,
That's
perfect.
more on ITIL.
Yeah. So now let me classify DevOps on two branches. Okay, one is build and release administrator. Please, guys, please concentrate. Okay, one is build and release administrator, and the second is change management, the release management. Okay, I don't know if many companies are following this or not, but I have seen a lot of companies such as ADP or so. They hire differently for build and release administrator role. They hire differently for DevOps role. Okay, but don't get confused. Okay, this is just the two branch of DevOps. So build and release administrator will carry out whatever we discuss. And about the change management or the release manager, they carry out everything as a scrum master pertaining to the change request and the downtime of the particular application from the DevOps side. So if you are from IT service manager, the DevOps can help you in such a way that uh, let's say if there is one build, okay, build number one that went into production, and build number two that also went into production. So as a release manager, you have to seek the approval, okay, from the teams, saying that okay, can I go ahead and deploy this particular build number in the production? Can I go ahead and deploy this particular build number into production? So you are the what I can say, guardian of actual build and release administrators in a very functional way. There is no technical part in the change release manager role. Okay, there is no actual technical part from the DevOps side, but then you will have to monitor all the builds, all the what you can say, all the vulnerabilities that have been tracked. Okay, now coming to this from the DevOps side, I'll try to simplify this. If you talk about Azure DevOps, okay, in Azure DevOps there is something called metrics and dashboards. Okay, that gives you a report of how many sprints we have been on pace and how many sprints that we have termed it as a backlog. And also it gives you a back report of how many builds were successfully deployed and how many builds failed and could not get into production. Everything from the management side, from the operational side of the DevOps actions is managed by release manager. Okay, I could have shown you with the dashboard an example, but I'm not logged in into Azure DevOps now. But then please understand that if you want to migrate to DevOps, I would suggest you to please go ahead and do some certification on Scrum Masters for now. That is the primary thing, bottom line. Okay, if you can go ahead and do some Agile Coach certification, and if you can go ahead and do some Scrum Master certification, that would be very beneficial for you in the long run, considering the experience that you carry.
Yeah, I am a Scrum Master certified, but I just want to get started. I'm just not sure, is that the combination of AWS plus DevOps is needed for my career, or is that Azure DevOps which is needed in order to give it a bright
Okay,
start to my career?
okay.
I
So
understand you are giving more valuable insights on how to get started, but I just want to see on my career point of view. I appreciate your inputs. Please, over to you.
all right, so that actually depends on the project that you're working on. Okay, if I can say on the very high level, considering the market trend, yes, AWS is something that people are majorly using, but then there are also projects which utilize Azure DevOps as a tool. So right now, if you are confused between the two, then again the answer would be it highly depends on the usage of your company, I mean, which tool they are using. But if you want to get technically into the DevOps thing, yes, cloud is the next step that I can suggest you. And pertaining to today's world, as AWS is something that you can go ahead and learn. In AWS also, there are many things that you can take care of, technical and non-technical parts as well. So right now what I can suggest from my thing is, if you are interested to go core DevOps, then cloud should be your next target. And
In
again, which
cloud in the
cloud?
sense AWS.
Yeah, there are many clouds available in the market. Okay, there is Google
Yeah.
Cloud, there is
Okay.
AWS, there is Azure, there is China Cloud, and there are so many clouds available. So it all depends on the requirement that your company is looking for. And if you are not in a company working, and if you are just widely want to target and hit the market, I would suggest to go with AWS.
Hello, hello,
Yep.
hello, hello. Muzammil is here. Actually, I have a 4 years of experience in system administrator. I know the Azure, but I am confused that which tool I have to learn in in DevOps.
Okay. Are you aware of so you mean, if you when you say you are aware of Azure, are you working on portal.azure.com?
Yeah, portal.azure.com. Basic stuff in our company we are using.
Okay, fine. So if you want to get into DevOps, please learn or go study about dev.azure.com. That is called Azure DevOps. Okay,
Dem dot.
just try to dev.azure.com.
Okay.
Okay, so that is something that you can go ahead and learn. It is nothing but Azure DevOps. Okay, that has everything pertaining to the DevOps market trend. You have code repository there, you have sprint backlogs there, you have release jobs there. So you can go through some online tutorials on dev.azure.com. Then probably that will give you a good edge on what you're working currently.
Okay.
Yes, any other questions?
Hi, Mudassir. I do have a question.
Yes, please.
Yes, I'm from a unrelated background. I've been in experience of 3 years now. So I was actually planning for MS, and I have some basic knowledge about Python, JavaScript. Although I tried learning Java, but I found it very not difficult, and it would be easy for me to learn under supervision. So what do you suggest? I've been inclined towards DevOps recently.
Okay.
So I have interest in both development and DevOps. So what would you suggest? Do I go toward development or DevOps?
Okay, so now that you told me you have a basic understanding of Python, so I would suggest you to learn. Okay, let's do like this. Spend some 3-4 days learning the basics of DevOps, and after that, try to learn Docker and Kubernetes.
Docker
Okay,
and Kubernetes. Okay.
Docker and Kubernetes. And if possible, I can share you the document. I have, as I told, I have been taking some workshops with some private institutions. I have some documents, running notes, etc. I can share with you offline. Okay,
Sure.
so
Sounds good.
spend some 3 to 4 days on learning your what you can say, basics of DevOps, how to do CI/CD from Jenkins, and how do you deploy. It's just a matter of 3 to 4 days of practice. Okay, after that, target Docker. Do the same on Docker. Docker is not something out of the box. Okay, whatever you're doing as part of fundamentals, you do it via Docker, and then whatever you're doing as part of 3-4 days, do it via Kubernetes. Okay,
Okay.
and then Python is something that can add an edge in your resume along with Docker and Kubernetes.
About Python, like you gave an example that checking the files, if any of the files exceed 1 GB, you have to be notified. I think I can do that. But is that simple if you want to get into a company? Because that sounds very simple. So that just because I have a broader knowledge about Python and how things work, so is that all required? If you
See,
just have to know some broader concept of development.
okay, I'll give you one mantra to crack any interview. or not crack any interview, but just to portray yourself. I'll give one IT mantra. The mantra is, it's not about uh, what you do. It's all about how you portray what you're doing. Okay, it's not about like okay, I'm asked to do this, I'll do it, or if this is the question, just I'll answer that. No, it's not about how you portray it, how you showcase that task. So you don't worry much about what is the current requirement, because you never know, any project will come up and say, I want exactly what you know. But then there are some companies, they'll say, I don't want that much only, I want more beyond it. But then with the knowledge you have, you can showcase that you can do or you can achieve what they want. Okay, I might be sounding philosophical, but that's actually the truth. All
No, no,
right.
it makes a lot of sense now. Thanks.
So what I can suggest is, try to practice a lot of automation tasks in Python, not just reading files and so small tasks. Okay, if I want to achieve something in Linux, how do I do that? If I want to, so automation pieces. Okay, if the space is exaggerating, or if any application is not aligned, so try to do one thing. Try to ping google.com, and if the ping is not happening, then report an alert, meaning the website is down.
Yes.
Like that, keep on doing some small pieces of automation and keep them handy, and store everything in github.com. Create your own repository. Okay, this is something that I want to uh, tell across everybody. If you are working on small pieces of automation, create your own account in github.com, store all your pieces of scripts there, and whenever it requires, you showcase it to the manager or the interviewer, and you can keep it for your reference as well. All right, next question.
I was just unsure how to get started. I mean, I understand you have showcased you can move on to AWS plus DevOps, but herein I'm working for a Microsoft related project in my organization, and I feel like Azure would be good advantage to get into a project wherein I can get hands-on within the organization, and there would be any risk of challenges. So what do you suggest?
Okay. Uh, Although I could not understand exactly each sentence, but I sense that I um, comprehended your question. So right now, what I can suggest you is, there are two things as we rightly discussed right now. One is dev.azure.com, which is Azure DevOps, and there is one other thing called portal.azure.com, which is cloud, Azure cloud. So right now, please go ahead and learn dev.azure.com. What we can do is, we can set up some sessions on dev.azure.com. It's very easy actually, because Microsoft is UI friendly, and you need not write any commands. It's all click based. So learn dev.azure.com, and after that, in portal.azure.com, try to understand how an application can be stored in infrastructure as a service and platform as a service. Any application can be hosted majorly in two ways. There is also software as a service, but not, let's not get confused. There are two ways to host an application or deploy an application. Okay, I'm talking only on portal.azure.com. Okay, infrastructure as a service and platform as a service. Try to do some POC activities in portal.azure.com and showcase that, okay, I can build an application and deploy it on infrastructure as a service, and build an application and deploy it on platform as a service. Okay, if you have this much of knowledge, then you are very much good to fly. Coming back to your first part of the question, what is the first prerequisite? Then, sir, I would again suggest you need to practice some of the tools in DevOps. And after that, if you are more inclined towards Microsoft tools, then dev.azure.com is the future. Okay, and again, if you practice them, if you practice the DevOps fundamentals locally, then it is very easy for you to learn dev.azure.com. Although it is very easy with the UI, But then if you have some practical manual knowledge, it will get very easier. Don't worry, we will definitely have some sessions. I'll request CGC teams to have some sessions. And then in a matter of 2 hours, you can do your own assignment on dev.azure.com. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you very
You
much for
can.
the valuable insight.
My pleasure. Any other questions?
Assalamu alaikum, Mudassir bhai. I have few doubts and I have this question, I hope. So first is I'm purely from background that we can say it's non-IT. Like I'm from civil engineering background, but I want to go into the another field. So I was searching through Azure and DevOps and all that. So after a session, I'm thinking to join, but I want to know that how it is possible and from a person who is from purely non-IT background to jump in. And is Udemy and online courses are that helpful, and how much time it will take for me, and does it require any typical programming kind of things?
Okay, good one. So my question to you is, why is it not possible? See, in my last project where I was working, we were a team of 5 members and I was the only CS IT guy. And out of that team, 4 people, one was a mechanical guy, one was an triple E guy. Okay, it doesn't really matter what background you come from. It all matters is whether you know the requirement in today's world or not. That answers your first question. Second question is, yes, coming to the learning of DevOps, you might have to learn some basics of DevOps. I don't recommend you to go with Udemy paying some courses. There are bunch of courses, there are bunch of videos available on YouTube. Don't go after any paid tools. DevOps is a very, very easy thing. Do not pay for it. If you want to learn cloud also, don't pay for it. Everything is available on the internet freely. And it's all, at the end of the day, it's all dependent on how much you practice. Okay. So for now, what you can do is try to learn how to build any project, how to build any language, sorry. And if you are able to build that language, try to learn Jenkins. First thing is you have to learn how to build any programming language, maybe Java, Python, C Sharp, or whatever. Try to learn how to build that, and then learn what do you call Jenkins, any tool, and slowly you can go ahead and learn cloud. At the end of the day, I again say it is never impossible for you to get into DevOps. It's very easy. Only that if you have some assignments done by you, you will gain some confidence. Yes, there was also a part in your question about the scripting and programming. Scripting is very easy, as I said. So if you can learn some bits and pieces of scripting as well, that will add a feather in your cap. All right.
Hello,
Any other
Mudassir.
question?
Yeah. Hello. Which website is good to learn DevOps, like on YouTube?
It's not about website. See,
On YouTube.
it brings down to what you want to learn. If you want to learn a particular tool, you can go ahead and learn tool. Edureka is something that I would suggest for you as a beginner. Don't go for their paid tools. Just go after
On
their
YouTube,
materials.
on YouTube, we don't find on sequence order. If you want to learn any tools, they are not in jumble way. So sometimes we will confuse. So would you recommend which tutorial is best on YouTube?
Uh, I don't recommend any, but if it's in jumbled way, then as I said, it all brings down to what your requirement is. See, in the PPT, if you remember, we have jotted down all the tools in a sequence, right? So let's go after each tool. Today, you target only Git. Go learn. Watch out 3-4 videos of Git. Then you will be doing some assignments by your own. Done. Next tool is Jenkins. Watch out 3-4 videos on Jenkins. So go after that. So first you know what you want, and then learn for that. Don't just go for sequence provided by them only. So you should know what you want. So that particular image, if you remember that infinite loop with all the tools. So if you can learn one tool after the other as much as you can, then that would be beneficial.
Any difference is there, Git and GitHub?
Git and GitHub. Okay, Git is a utility, GitHub is a browser.
GitHub is a utility project.
Utility actually.
Okay.
GitHub is a browser. It's a website actually, github.com. What you can say is that GitHub is an interface of your Git.
Okay.
Yeah. One more point I can add on to that is if you have Git bash installed locally, you can remotely connect to GitHub and store your, push your code to GitHub. So they are no two different softwares. You can just say GitHub is a UI interface layer sitting on top of Git utility. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions?
Mudassir, I had one question.
Mhm.
So now you said that DevOps engineer would collaborate between the development, testing, and database or deployment teams. In DevOps itself, are there multiple profiles? Like DevOps engineer, is there anyone who will validate his work as well?
Okay. I'll tell you one thing. Unfortunately, there is no team in DevOps. That's very sad part. So if there is a team, you will not work in the same project. So that is the main thing. So there is the if I understand your question, the reporting manager of DevOps, it would be a release manager or a scrum master only.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yep. So to add more context to that, in DevOps you have a build and release administrator. In DevOps you have someone who takes care of the releases. In DevOps you have someone who takes care of monitoring. Okay, so this
Configuration
slowly,
management team.
yeah. So slowly, DevOps is also evolving with the large number of tools. Hence, if you talk about Kubernetes is something that cannot be handled by one team, because in Kubernetes you have networking, you have all the firewall, you have all the configurations, everything. So that means you need to have some networking knowledge, you need to have some load balancer knowledge, you need to have some uh, basic knowledge. So can it be handled by one team? No. So if you are from networking background, you want to move to DevOps, it becomes easier for you, right? So in such a way, DevOps is also
Mudassir,
become,
sorry to
yeah.
interrupt you. Actually, I'm handling all these routers, switches, firewalls, load balancer.
Mhm.
I'm a single person who is handling all this for a
Okay.
special.
Okay. So
We can
in
handle.
DevOps,
No, it's not in DevOps. It's in infra.
oh, okay. No, yeah, I understand. But my point is in Kubernetes, you have everything clubbed into one umbrella. Networking also came in. This firewall management also came in, and code deployment also came in. So one person cannot handle all that, right?
Okay,
They cannot handle code deployment and
got it.
etc. So at the same
Got
time, DevOps is also spreading its wings to give space to the networking guys to come into DevOps, right? So that containerization is something that I can suggest you as a network guy that you can seek your interest in. Containerization. Okay, so with all the questions, with all the context, I understood that functionally some of you guys are little aware and some of you guys are prolific to migrate to DevOps and switch to this technology. So it will be very sensible for us to have some workshops. Let's figure out the probable schedules. Let's decide on when we can do that. I'll have a word with CGC team, and then we'll get back to you with the workshops. Okay.
Mudassir, this is Mujahid. Really, thank you for the session. It gives a lot of insights on the current DevOps practices. Thank you again.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
If you guys
Thank
any
you for all your
yeah,
valuable inputs,
thanks a
and
lot.
I'm
Yeah,
sure that really adds value as a guidance to our career progression, and I'm sure that's something which gonna help really. Thanks very much, and thanks very much CGC team for all your coordination.
thanks a lot. So I guess there are no more open questions. If you have any, we are there in the CGC groups. You can reach out to us. I think it will be very much necessary for us to have some workshops, then so that we can get into practicing rather than speaking. It will be very helpful for all of us, right?
Yes, for
So
sure.
thank you so much, guys, for joining. Have
Yeah.
a great
On
day.
the behalf of Career Guidance Council, we are very thankful to Mr. Mudassir. Wonderful session, and you clarified a lot of doubts actually. Very useful session, I would say. And yes, I agree with you. We'll work with you to schedule some kind of workshop, maybe on Jenkins or Azure DevOps. We'll work with you, and definitely we will need your guidance, Mr. Mudassir, going forward on this.
Absolutely, sir.
Thank you so much.
Anytime. Yep.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone
Thanks.
for joining and being interactive with everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you again.
One more announcement. We will have another webinar today, 3 p.m. on career in e-learning industry. So please join that. The link will be same. Please join at 3 p.m. today. You will be getting to know about what is e-learning industry, and how to make career into e-learning industry. What are the job opportunities available in that? So we will have Mr. Syed Amjad Amli, who is a startup founder in e-learning industry, who is going to present in this webinar, career in e-learning industry, at 3 p.m. sharp. Thank you all. Bye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.